Welcome into Locked On Phillies. The Phillies dropped the series opener against the San Diego Padres, and Bryce Harper, well, that UCL injury, he looks like he suffered a little bit of a setback. All of that on today's Locked On Phillies.
You are Locked On Phillies, your daily Philadelphia Phillies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, this is Locked On Phillies. I'm your host, Connor Thomas. Been talking Phillies baseball for years over on 97.5 The Fanatic and on NBC Sports Philadelphia. Now, happy to be here with you as your host of Locked On Phillies, and I want to thank you for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Not a banner night at all at Citizens Bank Park for the Philadelphia Phillies last night in their return from a very hot West Coast road trip. They were taking on the San Diego Padres. We previewed that with a crossover episode yesterday with Javi Reyes, the host of Locked On Padres. You can go check that out and give that a listen because it still previews the rest of the series. But, man, it did not go well for the Philadelphia Phillies. Before we get into the later Bryce Harper news that we're going to discuss in today's episode, let's go through yesterday's game and cover exactly what went wrong for the Phillies in this one. First of all, when you look at the box score, the thing that stands out to you is, the Phillies, they got shut out. They only had 5 hits. One of those came in the 9th inning. Man, they were getting 4 hit or less for a majority of this game. And it was a great start by Mike Clevinger for the San Diego Padres. Now, it wasn't just Clevinger that was good on the mound, though. Zach Eflin, he went 6 innings pitched, 1 earned, 5 Ks, did not walk a batter. That should be good enough for a win. His only run given up was in the 5th inning. It was an Austin Nola grounder into a fielder's choice that ended up scoring Will Myers, who, by the way, on that play, Will Myers made an outstanding read. Robinson Cano hit a soft line drive to right center that got down, but probably not by more than 5 feet in front of Roman Quinn. It was close. Meanwhile, though, Will Myers was off and running basically on the swing. It wasn't like a full hit and run, but he saw the ball down. He was right. He ended up going to first to third on a ball that he never should have been able to do that on, and it resulted in the Padres' first run. So even that one, it was just a little bit of rough luck for Zach Eflin on a great base running play by Will Myers. He actually, I think if you look at it, outdueled Mike Clevinger in this one. Clevinger went 5 innings pitched, and even though he didn't give up a run, he also struck out 5, no walks. So Zach Eflin went an inning longer. He only gave up that 1 run, and frankly, actually, I can't say either of them outdueled the other. It felt like Eflin had a slightly better night, but they were as evenly matched as pitchers really can be, especially for Eflin coming off of an IL stint with the COVID IL time that he spent over the past week or so. It was a really, really encouraging performance in a start by him. Unfortunately, the Phillies offense just didn't hold up their end of the bargain. The Phillies never scored in this one. And then after a quiet top of the 6th, the Padres scored again in the top of the 7th. Robinson Cano had an RBI single to left field. Well, it shouldn't be because Kyle Schwarber let the ball roll directly underneath his glove to go to the wall, scoring Will Myers, who scored his 2nd run of the game on that one. Robinson Cano moved to 2nd. And then Trent Grisham doubled to deep right center field, and Robinson Cano scored on that one. So just like that, 3-0, and that's all the runs that the Philadelphia Phillies would need to give up in order to lose this one because their offense just straight up did not have it. The Padres bullpen was solid, especially highlighted by Taylor Rogers, who's unbelievable. He got what was his 14th save of the year already. That's ridiculous to have 14 saves, a .56 ERA. He struck out 18 so far this season. And, man, he's very, very good on the mound in save situations. So you don't want to get to the 9th inning and have to score off of him, but that's what the Phillies did, and that's part of the reason why they did not win. Let's run through the box score to talk about a little bit more of a reason why the Philadelphia Phillies didn't pull this one off. Rhys Hoskins went over. He was 0 for 2. In this one, Alec Boehm was just 1 for 2. Nick Castellanos the only multi-hit performer on the Philadelphia Phillies. He went 2 for 4. He's continues to. It seems weird when the Phillies have off days, when they have off nights, when they have off games. It's often Nick Castellanos who's like this lone guy who hits well. He plays well. He picks up the slack when the team is struggling, but unfortunately, one guy is just not enough to do that when the rest of the team is not swinging it this well. Odubel Herrera was 0 for 3. Gene Segura extended his hit streak, so that was nice, but just 1 for 4 on that one. JT Realmuto 0 for 3. Bryson Stott 0 for 2. Johan Camargo pinch hit for Stott in the 8th inning, singled to give the Phillies a little bit of a chance, so he got a hit, but Roman Quinn was 0 for 3. And really the main underperformer of the night, while there were a couple, like Rhys Hoskins was 0 for 4. Odubel Herrera was 0 for 3. JT Realmuto was 0 for 3. But Kyle Schwarber went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. The golden sombrero, a big error in left field that led to the Padres extending their lead. It was just not a good game for Kyle Schwarber. And there have been a lot of people who have been upset with what Kyle Schwarber is doing at the plate. He's batting only 183. It's unacceptable. It's not good enough. But we got to remember what Kyle Schwarber is. He's just a modern-day power hitter. He had a great year last year. He looked solid average-wise compared to what he was in his career. But frankly, what this guy is at his base level is he's a guy that when he gets a hit, it's probably going to be a home run, but they're few and far between. And he's also a slow starter. So will he have a hot stretch at some point? I still believe that he will. But this is largely the type of hitter he is. He's going to be better. But he'll probably hit like 220. 230, 240, hit a bunch of home runs. Part of that is the modern game, and I still think that's tough to adjust to as a fan because you hate the strikeout and it kills you in certain situations. But the long ball can also, it can win you games. That's just what you have to live with Kyle Schwarber at this point. But when he goes 0 for 4, when he makes a crucial error in the field, that you can't live with. And that's what the Phillies got from him yesterday. And a big part of losing that ballgame rests on the shoulders of their new outfielder. I won't even say left fielder because a lot of stuff is moving around in the outfield. Odubel Herrera played right field last night with Nick Castellanos DHing and Roman Quinn in center. Joe Girardi's having to move a lot of stuff around because of rest days, but mainly because of an injury to Bryce Harper, which we'll talk about in the next segment when we preview Game 2 tonight. And we'll talk about what Joe Girardi said in his media availability earlier today. But really, just looking again at last night, the main issue is it felt like approach at the plate again. It felt like the Phillies were just not seeing the ball well. And Mike Clevinger, a very good pitcher. It could have just been a one-off, like, hey, this dude diced on this night, and he was due for a really strong start, and he went out and he got the Padres one. Could have been as simple as that. And the Phillies' offense has been hot. It could have just been reverting back to the mean. They're not going to score like 10, 12 runs every game. So could have been a combination. One game is not a trend maker, though. Was it a fun game? No. Was it a good game? No. But one game is not a trend maker. So what we're going to do is we're going to sit back. We're going to see what they do tonight in another matchup with the Padres, see if they can take this one and then make tomorrow's afternoon game on Thursday a chance to win a series. They can still win the series, so we're not hitting any type of panic button yet. Just was disheartening after what you saw from the Phillies out in LA and Seattle. But something that's more disheartening is the news that we got about Bryce Harper today. And it's not going to be him out for a while, but he suffered what I would call a setback when it comes to the partial tear in his UCL. It makes tonight a little bit more interesting. We'll talk about the lineup that came out and what the Phillies will line up with tonight. And it makes, really the rest of the season more interesting as the Phillies try and mitigate injury issues with one of the best players, if not the best player. For my money, I think he is. But we'll just say one of the best players in baseball right now. We'll talk about that in just a second. Let's talk about one of our sponsors for today's episode, LinkedIn. Spring's in the air. It's a time of renewal, growth, both personally and professionally. You might be looking for a new job, or you might be looking to fill new job opportunities. As your small business grows, LinkedIn Jobs is here to make it easier to find the people that you want to talk to fill those open positions. And you can do it faster and for free. You can create a free job post in just minutes on LinkedIn Jobs, and it helps you reach your network and beyond. You can reach the world's largest professional network. There's over 810 million people. There's so many out there, and they could be looking for a job just like the one your small business is posting. You add your job and the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile, just like that. It draws them in like moths to a flame, like those bugs to those weird lights that you hang outside that zap them. Okay, you're not going to zap the candidates, though, because they're going to be exemplary candidates. It brings in people who are already screened because you put out what you want for that job and a nice LinkedIn hiring sequence. Well, it helps them figure out exactly what you're looking for. It makes them look, and candidates can see already before applying what exactly they need for qualifications and if they'll fit for the job. You get better candidates, you get them faster, you get more of them. It's just perfect. It's even better. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1, delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. So what LinkedIn Jobs want you to do? Well, they help you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. And did you know every week 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? So post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonMLB. That's linkedin.com/lockedonMLB. And that'll let you post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Okay, let's talk about tonight's game and one of the biggest storylines. Well, we were looking at the lineup that the Philadelphia Phillies put out, and it does not include one Bryce Harper. The reason being, well, Bryce Harper is still recovering from what was called, let me make sure I get this right, the PRP injection. So if you're unfamiliar, we brought it up a couple times, but you might have missed it. Bryce Harper has a partial tear in his UCL in his throwing arm, in his right elbow. So what that means is, like, when he's throwing, when he's hyperextending, that ulnar collateral ligament that runs on the outside of the elbow here, well, that is you've got that a partial tear in that. Actually, it's inside here. I apologize. I partially tore my triceps tendon as well, which is why I touched out there. My elbow's a mess. Bryce Harper's is not as bad as mine, thank goodness, because basically I'm done ever playing competitive baseball because of it. But not what Bryce is looking at. He got the PRP injection to mitigate the pain. But we got some news today that Joe Girardi announced Bryce Harper's not expected to play right field, well, before the All-Star break, as Matt Breen puts it, whose tweet I'm reading here today. He was told today to not throw for 6 weeks from Sunday's injection. The original timeline was 4 weeks. He's going to need time to build arm strength after those 6 weeks. So it'll be a while before Bryce Harper is playing the field again. Now, he could still DH. He should probably be available to DH tomorrow, is the hope, based on what was being said by Joe Girardi in that same press conference, same media availability that he had before tonight's game. But because of that, tonight's starting lineup looks like Rhys Hoskins, Alec Bohm, Nick Castellanos, Gene Segura, JT Realmuto, Kyle Schwarber, Johan Camargo, Odubel Herrera, Roman Quinn, Zack Wheeler. Find it interesting here, one little switch up, it looks like, we've got Nick Castellanos in right field. We got Schwarber DHing now after his mishap in left field. And then Odubel Herrera will flip over to left field. Roman Quinn still playing center. But Zack Wheeler on the mound for the Philadelphia Phillies. And that's what we have to look forward to here. Real quick before we get into the Wheeler matchup with Blake Snell, who will be throwing for the San Diego Padres, though. My thoughts on how concerned we should be about Bryce Harper? I'm not overly concerned. You have a couple of corner outfielders. You have the guy in Nick Castellanos who started in right field in the All-Star game last year for the National League. Like, you have replacements. Is it ideal? No. But as long as Bryce Harper can still hit, which it seems like all indications are he can hit pretty darn well with that issue with his UCL, then the Philadelphia Phillies are going to be fine. And I don't believe, just hitting-wise, he's going to do anything to re-injure it. The issue is he's just not going to be available in the field for a little bit. But there are people talking about, well, just have him get the surgery that he may need or have him take the time off now. I mean, this team needs him. They can't really afford to miss a couple months of Bryce Harper, especially if he doesn't have to do that to recover from the injury. So I'm firmly in the camp of, as soon as he's recovered from this injection, play him at DH and let him DH until he either improves, or if he can't get back in the field, we'll just play him at DH the rest of the year, and you're going to have to live with that. But there are worse DHs in the world than Bryce Harper, and there are worse right fielders in the world than Nick Castellanos. So right now, well, you can still get away with it. The biggest downside is you have to play Kyle Schwarber in the field if he's going to play. And you saw last night the issues with that. But hey, that's kind of what you accepted when you came into the season, as the Philadelphia Phillies organization did, with minimal defense. So that's what it is. But let's look at tonight and see how the Phillies overcome all of those issues that they're currently facing to see if they can beat the San Diego Padres. Well, The biggest thing tonight is the pitching matchup. The Phillies have Zack Wheeler going. Zack Wheeler, 1-3 on the year so far, a 4.26 ERA, a 1.26 WHIP in 31 and 2/3 innings pitched. He's got 30 hits given up, with 32 Ks, 10 walks. So you're still seeing a little bit of control that needs to come in, which most of those came earlier in the season as he was working back from a shortened spring training for everybody, but especially shortened for him. But here's the interesting part. Well, according to the ESPN matchup predictor and ESPN analytics, which is always on the ESPN website when you look up a given matchup, Phillies are getting a 57.9% chance to win this game. Got to imagine the reason being, well, Blake Snell has not pitched yet this year. Blake Snell's making his first start of the year as he works his way back into throwing form. He'll get his first start against the Philadelphia Phillies, and who knows how long he'll go. Who knows how good he'll look? Who knows exactly what's going on with Blake Snell as far as health-wise? Like, he's working his way back into pitching shape still. And while he's ready to go, it's still his first start of the year. This is basically opening day for Blake Snell, and he's facing an already warm Zack Wheeler and a Phillies lineup that's been hitting the cover off the ball yesterday notwithstanding. It's why it's a prime opportunity for the Philadelphia Phillies to take advantage tonight and try and steal a game from the Padres, who have been playing very well themselves. Their first place out there in the NL West, and deservedly so, a very talented roster. Well, if you're going to take advantage of, you're seeing Clevinger, well, you saw Clevinger last night, you're seeing Snell tonight, you're seeing Yu Darvish tomorrow, of those three pitchers, well, let's take advantage of the guy who hasn't thrown all year, right? I do this every series. You know I do. I look at the games and I'm like, okay, well, this is the one you have to target to try and win this one, your most winnable game, to make sure that you're going into the final game with either a split or a win opportunity, depending on the number of games. Well, the one in this series is tonight's game against Blake Snell. So the Phillies lineup, well, you're seeing Blake Snell, who is, of course, a left-handed pitcher. And that's why the Philadelphia Phillies lineup looks as it does tonight, with Rhys Hoskins leading off. It seems like Rhys Hoskins is now firmly entrenched in that leadoff spot after only going on days when lefties throw to mitigate the lefty-lefty matchup at the top that Kyle Schwarber would create. But Schwarber has also continued to fall off offensively. So that's why you got Rhys Hoskins batting first, Alec Bohm batting second, Nick Castellanos, Gene Segura, JT Realmuto, 5 righties right off the bat. So you got the matchup advantage handedness-wise, though, in the first 5. And you have Kyle Schwarber, your first lefty, but Yohan Camargo, a switch hitter. Then you go down to Odubel Herrera again, Roman Quinn, a righty, and Zack Wheeler obviously doesn't hit. So you don't really have many mismatches in this lineup with Blake Snell, which would lend you thinking, okay, the Phillies have a good chance to hit him around a little bit. They still have to execute. They went out and they got 5 hit last night and shut out. This team's offense should not ever get shut out, but I mean, it's a long baseball season, and things are going to happen. Tonight, though, the mark of a good team, it happens with innings, it happens with games. When you go out there, and let's say the top of an inning at home, you give up 3 runs. A good team, well, they're going to get 1 or 2 of those back in the bottom because you press and you're like, okay, we need to answer. If you give up 1 run in the top, well, go get 2 in the bottom. Good teams answer. The same goes for games. When you give up a game, when you get smoked at home, a good team comes back out and says, hey, screw this. Let's go win the next one. Let's focus extra hard on this one. Let's come out and get back on track. We'll see what the Phillies can do and if the mental toughness can overcome getting shut out last night. I'm especially interested to see what Kyle Schwarber does. I know I've mentioned him a lot, but interested to see what he does tonight in the DH spot, trying to bounce back from the 4 strikeouts. A lefty-lefty matchup for him. Not going to be easy with Blake Snell, who is hard on lefties, but we will see what the big man can do at the dish. Again, no Bryce Harper. Hopefully he is back tomorrow, and if they get that added boost in the series finale with a series win on the line, well, we could get a backdoor series win for the Philadelphia Phillies. It all starts tonight, though, and that's a big matchup. In the final segment of today's episode, before I let you go to get ready for tonight's game, well, it's stepping off. It's Wednesday, and the Phillies did something interesting around Citizens Bank Park. I want to talk you through my thoughts on it. Do I care? Maybe a little bit more than I should, but that's just me. I'd also be interested in your thoughts on it, just like we had thoughts with the hats last week and everything. A change to the Philadelphia Phillies outfield. And I'm not talking about personnel. I'll tell you about all that in just a second, but I also want to remind you, and thank you as always for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day, but when we have big wins or big losses, you can get my immediate reaction thanks to Locked On Nows. Locked On Nows are immediate reaction videos to breaking news, big wins, big losses, really all games across Major League Baseball. You can hear it from all of our hosts. The Locked On Now podcast compiles all of them together, and it's unique to the Locked On Network. We're the only network in the world that can get you this type of immediate reaction coverage from our great hosts about the ongoings in Major League Baseball as it happens, but it's available wherever you get your podcast. So even though it's unique content, you can get it easily. That's why you got to check out Locked On Nows. They're awesome. So go ahead and take a peek at those and make that another listen on the Locked On Network. So again, on the other side, we've got stepping off about the Philadelphia Phillies outfield changes. First, though, let's talk about Built Bar. Imagine dipping your finger into the plastic tub of birthday cake frosting and then opening your eyes and realizing, wow, that was really only 150 calories and 16 grams of protein. If it seems impossible, it's not. That's what it's like to eat a birthday cake puff from Built. I just received my birthday cake puffs. I got them in the mail actually about a week ago now. They're amazing. I can't get enough of them. And the best part is I can eat them every day because they're so good for you. The numbers, the macros, the nutritional value, it's amazing, especially compared to how it tastes. It's so good. They're available for you at Built.com. So hurry up and get them. If you haven't tried the puffs, I'll let you in on a little secret because that's what friends do, right? Well, they're chocolate-covered marshmallow protein bars. Tastes amazing. It tastes as good as it sounds. Yeah, you heard me right. Delicious flavored marshmallow that's covered in 100% real chocolate. So you can make every day your birthday with those birthday cake puffs. Who doesn't want every day to be their birthday? You can have the experience of biting into a fresh slice of birthday cake, and it's just 100% white chocolate and added sprinkles too. The sprinkles are nice because you can't make sprinkles healthy. It's a nice little cheap part of the Built Bar, but the numbers are still great. It's so good. Great protein, collagen protein, which is good stuff. It helps you build muscles. It helps you tone down whatever you're trying to do. So go to Built.com to get your birthday cake puffs now. I'll even cut you a deal. You go to Built.com and use promo code LOCK15. You can get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at Built.com. All right, it's time for stepping off. And the Phillies made a change to their outfield, not position player-wise, but they have a new design. It's the first time I think the Phillies have ever done this. They have the Liberty Bell design out in center field. I retweeted it from the Lock On Phillies account on Twitter at LO_Phillies. I retweeted it from my own account. You can see it there at Connor Thomas 975. They've got that design out there in center field where you've seen it before, where sometimes there'll be like a star for the All-Star game or a team logo or something. They were considering doing the team logo, but they decided to go with the bell out there in center field. Now, not a good sign that the Phillies are 0-1 since they started using that out in center field, but I actually love it. It looks awesome. It adds character to a field. When you're a major league ballpark and you can do things like designs on the field and everything like that, I say always go for it. It adds that nice little touch that brings more fans in, that makes it look more aesthetically pleasing. And it's bigger than I thought it was. It takes up like gap to gap, left center to right center. It takes up in center field. So it's a larger logo than I thought. But here's the thing. It's not for the players. It's like it's already cool enough to be in Major League Baseball. If you go out and you're a high school baseball player and there's a design in center field, you're like, oh, wow, that's cool. Or in college, your field is really nice. You have a design in center field. We didn't when I played at Washington College, but we played some places that did. Like, oh, that's pretty darn cool. Major League Baseball players, they played everywhere. They've seen it all. It's not for them, but it's to help bring fans in. It's to help people who are watching on TV be like, oh, wow, very cool design. That looks like a fun ballpark. Let's go check it out. For that reason, I am all in favor, and it does look sharp. It looks good while the Phillies run around out there on it, and I don't know why it took them so long to do that because there's really no downside to it. I saw some comments from people saying that it looks tacky or that they don't really like it or they don't love, like, it's doing too much out there in center field. I totally disagree. I like it entirely. I get the idea behind it. And I think the Phillies should continue to use it unless they just like start losing incredibly and it's cursed and then you got to go back or you got to change the logo. But no, I like how it looks. I like what it does for the fans who maybe more casual fans of the game or just like the aesthetic and it gets into the ballpark. Even if you sell, I don't know, 5 more tickets a game, it's probably worth it to go ahead and put that in. I can't imagine it's very expensive to do that bit of lawn care. So you look at it as a guaranteed win in my book to have that out there. That's are stepping off for the day. Of course, stepping off is when we take a step outside the line. We step off the rubber. We take a deep breath, and we don't have to worry about the ins and outs, the statistics of baseball. We'll normally step outside the lines, but because it's in center field, we're technically in between the lines. We'd just like to take a little bit of a break midweek and talk about something that's not having to do with the team's performance on the field. That's where we went this week, and I'm very interested. So jump in the comments on YouTube. Tweet at me at ConnorThomas975. Tweet at us on the show at LO_Phillies. And let me know what you think about the new design out in center field for the Philadelphia Phillies. And if you have an issue with it, try and state your case, because I've got none whatsoever. I think it's a very cool look. And we'll see it again tonight as the Phillies take on the San Diego Padres. That's all I've got before I go ahead and get ready to head down to the ballpark for tonight's game. I want to thank you one more time for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On MLB. Paul Francis Sullivan, Sully, he's a baseball encyclopedia. He knows the history of the game. He's got great stories. He covers major leagues, biggest storylines in general right now. So he covers everything past, present. He's got it all. He's just amazing. It's one of the most comprehensive baseball shows anywhere out there, and it's available wherever you get your podcasts. So check out Sully, Paul Francis Sullivan, on Locked On MLB. That's all the time I've got for you today. Make sure you're rating, reviewing, subscribing on YouTube, checking everything out, giving me podcast reviews so that we can continue to improve Locked On Phillies for you, the listener. I'm doing this for you to get you the best Phillies content daily in the world. So go ahead and do that for me if you don't mind. I really, really appreciate it, and I appreciate you listening. I will talk to you all, hopefully after a Phillies win tomorrow.